This might be the financial reset that no one saw coming. I'm giving up budgets, and I'll explain why it might end up being the smartest money move I make all year. Hi, my name's Anna. If you don't know me, I am 25 years old. I'm a social worker married to a PhD candidate, and right now I am currently posting daily for 7 days, getting ready for the new year. One huge way to get ready for the new year, for me, is reviewing what financial goals from last year I achieved, what areas I have to work on, what new goals I have for the future year, and what I can do to actually meet those. I can't pretend to know everything about finances, but I have worked really hard to learn and to try to make the best moves for myself and to try to use these years of my 20s to set up for future success. One of the biggest things that happened in 2025 is that me and my husband got married. Me and my fiance got married, and now he's my husband, back in January, so at the beginning of the year. And a goal that I had set for this year was to intentionally join our finances, since we had been living together and we've been together for a very long time, since we were 16, but we wanted to be really good about how we handled finances as married people. And I will say this has been one of the easier goals to achieve this past year. I know everybody's mindsets and philosophies are different. Ours very much is any of our money is both of our monies. Any of our savings are both of our savings. Any income is for both of us. Any spending is as if it's from both of us. I think just having the partnership teamwork mindset coupled with obviously communication has made that be successful this year. One thing we have not done is make any actual joint accounts. That's something that I'll probably do soon, adding Zach as a joint owner on like my savings account and vice versa or something like that. But in the future, as we open new accounts, if we need to, we'll just put both of them on it. But for now, it's just a lot of communication of like what money is in what account at each time and like who pays for each bill. And for the most part, we're pretty set. So going into the more numbers of this past year, I had the goal to fill our emergency fund to $10,000. And that was after the wedding. Paying for a wedding is no joke. It really was a vacuum for some time. But early on in the year, we really focused on getting the savings account back up to $10,000 in order to have an emergency fund. I've talked about it before. I'll probably talk about it again. Having an emergency fund, honestly, is good for my mental health. Like, I'm a lot more anxious if I don't have an emergency fund. I have had times in my life where my net worth is less than $100, and I'm really glad to not be there anymore. So because that 2025 goal was a success, coupled with the fact that we don't have a wedding we're paying for this year, we don't have a honeymoon this year, maybe there'll be big expenses, but they're not like those big expenses, I am setting the goal to save $25,000 this year. I think it's doable, but I also think it'll take effort. I imagine that this year is going to be such a sweet spot after honeymoon, after wedding, but we're dinks, double income, no kids, where we can go absolutely insane with the savings, and I want to see just how much we can do. Another goal I had in 2025 was to save for a car down payment. Right now, partly just because it's all we need, but then also partly to help save money, we just have one car between the two of us, my husband and I, and it works absolutely fine. I do know it'll probably come a time in life again whenever we need two cars or we can't make it work with one. We'll try to make it work with one for as long as we can, but at the time that we need two cars, I do not plan on going super deep into debt. I would not like to do that. I would like to have a very solid down payment for a car and a very reasonable monthly payment, if any, when that time does come. So what I decided for the car down payment goal in 2025 is that a brokerage account that I have is going to just be, in my head, my car account. The longer we can go with just one car, the more that car account will grow. Right now, there's the lower end of what I would like for a down payment, but a solid down payment in that account, and I'm just gonna maintain that until we do need a second car. I had the goal in 2025 to contribute the maximum amount to my Roth IRA. Sacrifices in your 20s pay off so much for your retirement. After handling all of the wedding expenses and everything like that, I was able to meet this goal for 2025, and I plan on doing it again in 2026. Your dollars that you contribute in your 20s stretch so far for your retirement. It's a semi-new soapbox for me, but it's a soapbox that I'm really starting to believe more and more in. It's just encouraging everyone around my age, old or younger, to save for yourself for the future. I would not like to work my whole entire life, and I would like to be set up well when I am done, and it is so much easier to start that now than it is to start it later. Not that you can't be successful when you start it later, but you will be so thankful to yourself making sacrifices now for the amount of rewards that you'll get in the future for it. I'd had the goal in 2025 to increase my 403b contribution. I work for a nonprofit, so that's why it's called a 403b, but it's the same account as like a 401k. In 2024, I was contributing 4% pre-tax to my retirement account, and by the end of 2024, I had changed that to contributing 6% post-tax to my retirement account, which was a great change. My company matches is up to 4%. So that's where I will never go under 4% because that is giving up free money. Maximize benefits if you have them. But in 2025, I started at the 6% post-tax and I changed it all the way up to 10% post-tax, which felt kind of terrifying when doing so because that means that my paychecks I get are less into my checking account. However, the paychecks that I get into my checking account cover my bills. Sure, there could be more spending money or fun money if I didn't put that much in retirement, but I would like to maintain that as well as I can for as long as I can, especially while it has a lot of time to grow. So my goal for 2026 is to maintain. I don't feel the need to go higher than 10%. Even now, if I open my little investment account, it says you're investing too aggressively. But if I invest aggressively and then I reach a point where I no longer have to contribute to retirement because my retirement is just set, I would like that. I would really like that. So 2026 goal, maintain at 10%. If things get crazy tight, that is something that could go, but the goal will be to maintain that. Another soapbox that I have recently been loving, so you've maybe heard me say it before, but if you get a raise, you don't have to have more money in your checking account. If you get a raise, you can send that percentage of raise that you get to your retirement account, and then you'll still be living on the same money that you've been living with before, but you'll have retirement. Use your raises wisely and try not to let your lifestyle creep into your raises. In 2025, I'd had the goal to increase my income by about 15%. I did have an income goal that I had set for myself of like the amount that I was increasing by. I don't think I will be reaching that goal. That goal also was a little bit arbitrary. It was 15%, and I just kind of made up 15%. So because it's not fully the end of the year and I haven't like filed taxes and everything like that, I don't know what my actual like adjusted gross income will be, but I do know that it will be higher than it was in 2024, and it's the highest year I've ever had yet. It'll be like around $70,000. So my goal for 2026 will be to increase that further. I hope to outdo myself every year. Action items for how I'm going to try for this: advocate the best I can for a market adjustment to where I would get paid similar to my peers at other companies, and or if it becomes needed, pursuing other opportunities that support my financial well-being. I will get a raise around June this year just because they do like annual merit raises every single year. But if they can adjust us market-wise, it would be amazing to get paid what I'm worth. And then also how I plan to increase income is by pouring even further into this YouTube channel. I hope to increase views, which will then increase AdSense revenue. Revenue is not why I do it, but it would be a nice secondary gain. At this point on my channel, I get about $10 per video, so it's kind of just for the love of the game. But this would be a lovely way to increase my income if that is possible this year. And I'm excited to pour further into it and see what happens. The other goals that I had set in 2025 were to send leftover money to savings instead of having it sit in my checking account. I've made a habit of that. Keep a to-buy list to keep me from making just like impulse purchases. I've been good at not making impulse purchases and making sure that the things that I purchase are things that I truly want. And then it also had the goal to spend with intention or mindfully focus finances. And by that I meant feeling okay with spending money on the things that I really would like. Trading money for a fun experience is a good thing. Trading money for a material good that I actually will want and will use for a long time and will increase my life in somehow like is a good thing, and it's okay to do that. So moving into 2026, I'm not going to set those goals again because I've kind of made habits of those things. I don't have to think of them as much anymore, which I feel really proud of, but just means it would be kind of redundant to put them on the goals list again. And the last goal that I had set for 2025 was to maintain a budget tracker. This year, we are dropping the budgeting entirely, or at least I'm going to try to. This might be controversial. The budget tracker for me this year was very helpful in that it gave me a way to see what our necessary expenses are each month and then about where we spend in different categories outside of that. The way that I ended up using a budget tracker this year, where I truly was filling out a spreadsheet with every single expense that either me or my husband spent at any time during the year, every single day. Because we've made low spend habits, our budget was mostly just keeping track of where money was going, much more so than it was setting like a maximum spend amount that then we were having to take effort to not go over that maximum. It was more so like at the end of the month we'd look and think, okay, cool, 12% of the money we spent this month went to dining out. That feels fine. Like we weren't overspending, so it was kind of just information that may have been beneficial, helped support the habits that we've made, but wasn't ultimately changing my life. And because we live below our means as far as our like bills and everything go, we've been able to cover monthly bills, and then our typical habits for spending don't exceed the income that we're bringing in. And something that I've also thought about is the fact that probably every single year of our lives is only going to get more and more expensive. Like eventually if we buy a house, that's expensive. That's a lot of money going out. Eventually children, those are expensive. That's a lot of money going out. Even though my paychecks are going to shrink a little bit in the new year because medical insurance and all of that is taking out of the paycheck, everything should still be manageable, and I'm dropping budgeting for this year. If I'm going to need to budget every year for the rest of my life, then I can do so. But if this is the last year that I can get away with not seeing where every dollar goes and being okay with that, I think that's fine. And I think that the strenuous tracking that I have done has kind of set up scaffolding in both me and my husband's brains of our spending and like how much goes where and about what numbers are fine, to where now I kind of feel like we're like going out into the world without the training wheels for this year. I'm fully holding space for the fact that we may get a few months into the year and it's not working and I need to do monthly tracking again. And if that's the case, then I'll do it. But I kind of want to head into 2026 with just like more peace and less pressure. And if it were just so helpful, I would still budget track. But I do feel like with where we're at right now, we just don't need that. So I'm not going to do it. Even though it feels so like organized and great of me to keep track of it, I'm going to try to have some financial rest. All of that being said, the 2026 goals: increase income. I'll do that by advocating for raises and growing this channel. Save $25,000. It might be crazy, but I'm going to try. Max out Roth IRA and maintain a high retirement contribution because I don't want to work my whole life. Drop the budget tracking. Financial rest is never something that I could have thought I would need, but I think it's going to be game changing. And do this all with Zach. Continue communicating, continue aligning our goals together, and continue partnering on action items to get us where we need to be. The biggest lesson that I'm taking into this new year is that you don't have to be a financial perfectionist to make big moves. I'm focusing on the habits over the spreadsheets this year because I trust that the habits that I've built are healthy ones that match my goals. If I get the big things right, then I have more grace for the daily line items that I don't need to update in a Google Sheet every day. My goal is for 2026 financial progress to be fueled by peace and not by pressure. So now I want to hear from you. What is one thing that you are letting go of in 2026 when it comes to your finances? Is it the budget tracker like me? Or is it some spending that's not in alignment with what you actually want? If this video helped you feel less alone or more prepared for the year ahead, please like it and subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. And if you want to support my journey toward that insane savings goal, one very sweet way you could do that is by joining this channel as a member. Besties get early access to videos, exclusive monthly live streams, and to choose the videos that I make on this channel, among some other perks. Thank you for watching, good luck with all of your goals, and I'll see you next time.